Alright, we managed to get through the PS1 project just fine, but I kind of wanted to do this bonus episode because this game that we're going to be playing by Mediavision was only released in Japan and Europe. It could have been an NA launch title, but wasn't. What is it? Well, here, take a look. This is Rapid Reload in Europe, and Gunner's Heaven in Japan. It is a 2D run-and-gun game, very similar to Sega and Treasure Zone Gunstar Heroes. You're going to see that, obviously. Some comparisons might be made to Metal Slug, but keep in mind Metal Slug didn't exist until the following year. We've got smart bombs, we've got a weapon change button with a triangle, and a grappling hook which will make you invincible when it's in use, but can only be used on ledges and walls. So, there you go. We've got ourselves two characters. The one on the left looks very familiar if you've played an RPG series over here, at least the first one. Actually, it kind of looks like a combo of the first and second game. But no, we're going to be playing as Ruka here instead. And what I didn't know is she is going to wind up being hard mode. In any case, let me be quiet for the first little bit so you can hear the music and enjoy the game. See you in a bit. Okay, I think you get the idea how this game works, so yeah, let's get to it. Gonna take down this big mech. Ruka's flame weapon is mostly her best one for this. If they're at a distance, though, I recommend using the homing laser as seen there. The G, I'm not sure what it stands for. Online says Grand. It kind of looks more like Gem to me, but that's not the same weapon that Axel gets for his G, which is more of these blue gust blades. By the way, if you pick up a power chip along the way, you will get a stronger version of it. Even just one power chip, which is our meter in the top middle there, it'll become stronger. Case in point, Ruka's normal gun is going to become more of a spread shot, which is obviously going to give you some more range. For Axel, it's different because his normal one's more like the Contra 3 machine gun deal. It's nice, but it's not really that effective. Unfortunately for Ruka, the other three weapons for Axel easily destroy the three that she gets. Like, this flamethrower looks good, and it is good. But Axel gets this fireball that when it hits an enemy, it not only explodes on contact, the fire from that explosion spreads so it can wind up taking down multiple enemies at once. Yeah, and even more so, like, the homing laser's cute for Ruka here, but Axel, he gets this chain lightning thing. It literally just auto-targets and just locks on and fries enemies as long as you're holding the button down. It is so much more powerful, it is so much more easy to use, and it's better for crowd control. And I can tell you as we get later on in this game, you're gonna need it. Oh, watch out there with the grappling hook, me. That is a power booster. It is going to make our weapon temporarily very, very strong. Yeah, you can see how supercharged those shots are. It is great for crowd control, but you kind of wish you'd had it for a boss. I guess that'd make the game a little too cheap. It's not that long. It's like 6, 7 stages, I think. I've not gotten that far. Only played it for a few minutes on my own just to make sure it worked. That is the case, it does. Played it for friends on a stream for about a half an hour. Mace to the face. Please keep ducking. Don't get smacked by that. It hurts. And then, what did I just say? And then, you guys are getting the 20-plus minute video here. So I can tell you straight up, we are not going to beat the game today. To be fair, though, like I said, Ruka is hard mode. Didn't know that, but I kind of wanted to play as one gal in this series, because anytime we had a chance to, I was always picking the guy. Battle Arena to Shinden, ESPN Extreme Games, and then Street Fighter, we were stuck with Guile from Movie Battle. Instead of, me actually wanting to use my main and Chun-Li through the Movie Battle, which you couldn't. This mini-boss is actually pretty easy. And by the way, anytime you beat an area boss, you earn yourself a checkpoint. I really don't know why we're using the gems here. They are not good. Meanwhile, Axel gets these wind blades that are giant and just fly all over the place. You can just duck and fire with them. Like I said, she just does not have it as easy as Axel does. And like I said, did Axel look familiar to you? Because if you've played a Sony RPG series called Wild Arms, yeah, he kind of resembles the protagonist of the first game. Maybe the second one, too. Let's see, it was Rudy in the first, and what was his name in the second? Ashley, that's right. Those were good games. In fact, they were so good. Well, you know what? Maybe we should talk about how we came to get a PlayStation a little later. Let's just look at that grappling hook in action. Again, you are invincible while it is in motion. Unfortunately, we're about to run out of power, so long to the spread shot. Now it's just back to being a straightaway gun. Still effective, but not exactly the weapon you should be using for this part. We will get another power chip, though, before we get to the boss, because this is, spoiler, the final section of Stage 1. Pretty fun game overall, I'd say. I could easily see me going through this one. It's just a shame that I didn't have that choice as a teenager, because Sony Computer Entertainment of America decided, nah, you guys don't deserve this. You don't want these antique 2D games coming out over here. Ew. Now, it doesn't mean they didn't release 2D games, because they definitely relaxed on that rule later on. Stuff like Tomba came out. Didn't play that one yet, but oops. But yeah, in the end, we did pretty good with it overall. Just not in the early going. Kind of wonder if that's how we got Mega Man Legends and the like. Anyway, I need to stop mumbling because we are at the boss. Yeah, so the first part there, you had to hit the legs so it would fully form, and now we can actually damage this guy. He's not that bad. You can see how quickly his health bar is going down. Again, Ruka's flamethrower, definitely a good power weapon. Maybe not as good as Axel's flame burst deal, but it doesn't matter. Homing shot's pretty good too if you don't even want to worry about aiming at the enemy. And to be honest, as he's shooting lasers at us, I kind of feel like that's a good idea. That gem thing, it is so useless. It's the worst weapon of all 8 that these characters can get combined. But yeah, we managed to get through this first boss without taking a hit. That's a first. Oh, victory hops. Always have to do the victory hops. Needless to say, I think this game has some pretty good music going for it. Also has some fun little mini-boss fights, like this next guy coming up right here. Again, to me, this is one of those games that should have been a slam dunk for coming over here. Not a system seller, but, a fun little game that shows off that PlayStation could put out some vibrant colors on it. I think it definitely does look, maybe not definitely, but it looks nice compared to Gunstar Heroes, I'll say that. Gameplay-wise, no, this is basically we have Gunstar Heroes at home. Case in point, it's only single-player when you think it should be multiplayer. I can see why, though, with how crazy the weapons are, but at the same time, this is the kind of game you want to go around with a friend and blast these mechanical dudes to bits. Now, we're taking on an enemy gang called the Pumpkinheads. What a name. Well, I guess it's fitting considering we're up to Halloween here just in a little bit. It's a good game, but not a great one. Gunstar Heroes is a classic. This one's more of a cult classic. It's okay. If I was still doing the grades, I'd probably give this game a C+ for the first impression. It's fine. Okay, now we're doing victory turnarounds. That also works. In any case, you see those power chips. The pink ones, I believe, give you 2. The gold ones give you 5. Definitely want to make sure you at least have 1 every time. Also want to make sure you don't just get shot by everything. Oh man, our health is getting low. I'm not liking this. There's some fun to be had here, though, even though it's single player. As you can see, it's just, your typical run-and-gun game, but it's a fun run-and-gun game. That's all you can ask for. Oh, I need to get that chip, because I am running low. Come on, there we go. Good. I don't know. I wish Sony over here was a little more lenient with that stuff. Oh, that health is going to be huge. I hope that helps us. Oh, thank you very much. Full heal. Nice. Because we're coming up on the second area boss, and this one is a little annoying, especially with Ruka, or, again, wish I had the chain lightning thing that Mr. Axel does, but no, Ruka does okay. By the way, her name is Rita in Europe, at least it's supposed to be. In-game, though, you saw it still says Ruka, so that's her name to me. Both her and Axel wind up being, they make cameos in another Mediavision game, Wild Arms 2. Funnily enough, I think it's at a bar called Gunner's Heaven. Guess they couldn't call it Rapid Reload over here. I think that name is also referenced in another Wild Arms one, but forgive me, I only played the first 2. We do own 3, but I just, that was kind of the era where Bean was getting tired of the RPGs a little bit. They're kind of getting a little weaker from how they used to be. And oh, there's Sting Chameleon. Hey, big guy, how's it going? Not only can this guy do a tongue-lashing move just like Chameleon, but he can also grab you with the tongue, bring you in, and try to electrify you like he's Blanka. It's kind of funny that we were trying to get away from Mega Man and Capcom for a bit, only to wind up doing this with our last 2 episodes anyway. The Nintendo guy that keeps playing Mega Man. Go figure. Why didn't we just stay as a Mario channel for that little bit there? It doesn't matter. Now, the better question is, why did we wind up doing a PlayStation 1 series when we are more of a old-school kind of guy? Well, I don't know if you know this, gang, but PS1's 3 decades old at this point, so it's pretty old school, too. And if you ask me, It is the best console that wasn't made by Nintendo ever made. I know some of you might say the PS2, as we get shocked like crazy there, would be the winner. But again, the PS2 was kind of in that era where I was getting a little tired of some games, and I didn't appreciate it as much as I should have. But the PlayStation 1 had so much that was just amazing to me at the time. Because again, you know, when you're younger, you're going to enjoy stuff a lot more than when you get older. It's just how things go. Well, I say that, but the Switch was pretty dang awesome, too. Work with me here, though, me. Work with me. The PlayStation 1 had a ton of RPGs that were just amazing for their time, and just a continuation of what I was enjoying on the Super Nintendo. I mean, obviously, you had Final Fantasy 7 through 9, and I'll say right now, seeing Final Fantasy 7 in magazines and seeing that it wasn't going to be on the N64, but the PS1, that is the reason right there that yours truly picked this console up. Well, I say I picked it up. No, Mom helped pay for that one just a little bit. You know, 95% of that one was paid for by her. Thanks, Mom. Love you. My brother and I had saved up enough money for one game at the time, and we were each able to make a choice. I decided on Wild Arms. Now, my brother wanted that one too, because, quote-unquote, from him, listening to what he told me the other day, he got it because you could rename spells. I thought it looked awesome, and it was. It was a really good game for its time. Just, great holdover to get to Final Fantasy VII, because we didn't pick it up, the system, in 1995. We got it in the spring of 97. And by that point, the system wasn't $299. Oh, no. That system was $130. Yeah, that was a good deal. In fact, I think it even came with a 5-month subscription to Game Informer for free. And back in 97, Game Informer was really cool, too. Maybe not the first issue we got. I think it had Fighters Mega Mix on the cover, some Saturn game. And, you know, by that point, we knew Sega was not that big of a deal. We're probably going to lose here, by the way, but don't worry about that. We'll be able to keep going. Oh, well, you know, whatever. It's okay. You got 9 continues. That means you got 10 lives to get through the game in the European version here. Japanese players are a lot more lucky because they have infinite continues. Anti-rental culture. In any case, like I'm saying, I picked up Wild Arms as my choice, and my brother made a pretty significant choice too, especially if you've watched this channel before, because he chose some game called Mega Man 8. That was the first PS1 game I beat. It was the first Mega Man Classic game that I enjoyed, even though I'd already played the first 2 Game Boy ones to completion. Yeah, without Mega Man 8, I don't think I'd become a Classic Series fan. I'm just saying right now, I probably just would stick with X. Which, by the way, X4 was coming out later that year, and that game looked amazing to me too. Go figure, it did turn out to be amazing. Good job, Teen Bean, on figuring out what games look and play well. Did a good job back then. Better than a kid when you rented Batman Forever. Oh. For me, the PlayStation 1 was always one of those things that was really good because the games were so cheap compared to the N64. And keep in mind, we also had an N64. We got that the previous Christmas. Ro really wanted that one, and, you know, I did too. Come on, Mario 64 was awesome. Pilot Wing 64 was a good time. And I remember just like how Wild Arms kept me occupied in the summer waiting for Final Fantasy VII, so did Star Fox 64. And that's an all-time great game too. And it's a shame they never made a decent sequel to it. Sorry to Assault fans out there. That one's close, but no. It's not there. Furthest I made it in this game, by the way, was this boss. So if we can get past her, we'll have set a new record. Let's do it. I mean, to this day, I've beaten something like 40 to 50 PS1 games. So it's not a ton, but it's still a decent amount. I mean, you know... like I said, Final Fantasy 7 through 9, you had Tactics, and we got one of the anthology sets, the one with 5 and 6, not with 4 and Chrono Trigger. I passed up on Chrono Trigger twice as a kid, by the way. 95, it was either Donkey Kong and Country 2 and Yoshi's Island. Yeah, those were the 2 games we picked over getting Chrono Trigger for Christmas. I mean, I still got to play Chrono Trigger, the SNES version, like 20 years later. Probably would have enjoyed it more. But would I have enjoyed Chrono Cross as much then? Because that was another PS1 game that we got, and that one was really fun. Xenogears, yeah. Square alone covers about, it feels like, almost a quarter of the games I've beaten on this system. And then you had stuff like Capcom's efforts, X4, sadly X5 and X6. But you also had Mega Man 8, which was cool, Mega Man Legends, Breath of Fire 3 and 4, two of my favorite non-Square RPGs of that era. Some of the cult classic RPGs like Star Ocean: The Second Story. By the way, if you've ever seen it out there, the remake is awesome, Second Story R. It's one of the best ones I've played. Like, it's up there with Powered Up for Mega Man and Zero Mission for Metroid. Would highly recommend that one, and I think we are actually going to get through this Mantis this time, so good job, me. We are going to Stage 3 for the first time ever. You know, like I said, if there was a top 5 for systems all time, I can guarantee I can name 4 right off the top of my head that I like the most. Super Nintendo as a little kid, PlayStation as a teenager. In my adult years, I've really enjoyed the 3DS and Switch back-to-back. That's like a decade of greatness there for Nintendo. Some of their best games ever they made during then. Not all of them, mind you. Like, there are some that are like, I'm not as high on Odyssey as I am 3D World, for instance, with Mario, but it's still like, they're good games. But again, this is about PlayStation, not Nintendo. So, again, a lot of franchises I've played, made some significant steps on here. And it's cool being able to go back and play through some of these, either through official emulation, the way we're doing it, which is a little more unofficial. Shh. And stuff like that. Because, again, there are other PS1 games I've played that weren't even on this system. Like, I played Symphony of the Night for the first time on the freaking Xbox 360. That was back in 2007. Ape Escape was a game we played on one of those. It was either PS4 or PS5. Probably PS5. I'm not as big on the PS5 as some people are. That one's probably my least favorite of theirs. But to be fair, I haven't played Spider-Man 2. Haven't played some of the other stuff on it yet that I'd probably enjoy. I don't know why either. It's just, There's something about that system that just does not click with me. I love the PS1, like the PS2 and PS4. PS3 had good games with terrible hardware, and the PS5 has good games, and the hardware is fine, and man, this is just an unfair setup with Ruka. I am so sorry. You just suffer so much in this stage with everything shooting at you. We're actually coming to the end here, and yeah. Okay. I can kind of tell right there that was hard mode, and we're not even going to give it a third shot. I think we've seen enough of this game to know that it's pretty fun. Just, not the best game ever. Launch lineup-wise, this one would have been right in the middle of the pack. And I kind of wish they would have brought stuff like this over back in the day. It's kind of a shame. And again, nowadays, you can just bring it on PSN, and I really wish they would, but of all 3 of the major companies, Sony seems to be the one that's least interested in their past. And that's just a bummer to me, because their past was pretty awesome, as we got to see throughout this series. And that, gang, is what we like to call a segue. Bare bones options, stiff gameplay, and a bad look make for one of the worst sports games I've ever played. Interesting premise, boring execution. Keycard collecting and combat in cramped corridors is not my thing. Carlos was cool, though. I've played better Street Fighter II knockoffs from other companies than this one Capcom made themselves. At least the alpha games are on the way. The uncapped frame rate compromises the gameplay. It's not unplayable, but you're really better served playing the original 3DO version if you decide to play this one at all. It's a little tough to see what's out there on the road at times, but it's not that rash of a decision. I'm saying it's a Road Rash knockoff, everyone. Decent one too, aside from the 90s attitude. We just played this. A fun 2D shooter in the vein of Gunstar Heroes. Won't make you forget that one, but it's still fun. Just go with Axel if you want a better chance to win. A really good-looking platformer that is kind of brought down by its life system. Origins and Legends would figure this out in the future, but it's still Rayman, and that means it's neat. 2 perfect arcade shooter ports in one collection, a decent amount of options, and the gameplay's pretty fun. Shame I'm not the best at either. Oops. One of the best arcade basketball games ever made. Midway and Acclaim would never reach the heights the series hit here again. Boom shakalaka. Yeah. The PS1's answer to Virtua Fighter with weapon-based arena fighting is a good time. Other games would come along and chip away at this one's popularity fast, but at launch, I think it's one of your best bets. The Ace Combat series takes off with a fun first entry. Mission variety is decent, lane choices are plentiful, and that's how you can see why this franchise is still flying high to this day. One of the best arcade to home console ports for its time, the drift mechanic is easy to learn, tough to master. Honestly, the greatest game in the PS1 launch lineup. Ridge Racer. You win. Yep. And there you have it. We have officially played the PlayStation launch to completion. Got a lot of good times out of this series, even though it was an abbreviated one. I know it didn't reach the usual viewership numbers, but this was more of a curiosity project for me anyway. You all can watch or not, it didn't matter. I just had a good time doing it. Got to play a lot of games that, man, they turned out to be more fun than I thought. Yeah, there were a couple of duds, but it doesn't matter. It was a good time, and I hope you all had a good time listening and watching. And until I see you next time, I'm Bean. That's me. I don't know how to play this out, so I'll just say it now. Later. Bye.